Hey, as we move through these last days of Taurus, only to begin Gemini, I believe Gemini starts, yes, 8:50, 8:49 a.m. on Wednesday. So these last energies of Taurus that I have is that we can get so locked down, pun intended, on our values, on what has worked or hasn't worked, and become very territorial. And when Taurus represses or suppresses too much, it can only react, or sometimes it reacts in disproportion to the slight. So it's an egocentric sign that grounds itself after Aries. And so if you've found yourself for the last 3 weeks being kind of a pendulum swing between, royal repose where you handle everything to flying off the handle at imagined flights, we're ending that as we go into Gemini. So use these next couple days to understand where you might need more tangible physical space. So if you can't get it because you're sheltering it in place, then bathe instead of shower. Take time to, put honey on the toast or whatever it is that you need to do for self care. And with Venus in retrograde until June 25th, and then her Virgin counterpart, Athena, going retrograde just yesterday, we're learning the difference between how we relate and connect, and then what we need and how we can integrate our own selves, a la the Virgin Goddess of Athena, Pallas Athene. Now, there's another Virgin Goddess, Vesta, who is the home fires, and so it's our ability to find that fire within. And with Vesta being in Gemini, moving with the Venus in Gemini retrograde, we can find that we may be obsessed on words and how things are said instead of integrating the Gemini twin self, the lower self of what's said, the actual facts of the situation, but giving the benefit, offering the benefit, being generous of spirit, and looking at the higher import, the higher aspirational meaning of what's said. Forgiveness goes a long way. And so know that with the retrograde Venus until the June 25th, we're all chided to understand or pushed to understand our higher ideals and how we communicate about those higher ideals, and whether we are in space connected with others, but at the same time not in that space. The duality of the third dimension that's highlighted by Gemini. So recognize where you're not present, where you're not listening, or you're listening about only to be active or to be conscious of what you're going to say next, which is not really listening. And so this week, with a waxing new moon happening not until Friday on the 22nd, we're in the tail end of the new moon that began on April 22nd. So, waning crescent moons, this dark of the moon, are prophetic in the sense that we're thinking of the larger vision, the futuristic vision, the how we're in this together kind of a vision, and understand until Friday, it's important for all of us to realize what can we offer to others? How can we set boundaries kindly? And recognizing that this shift from Taurus to Gemini can be akin to the I have, the what I own, and the greedy shadow side of Taurus to the share and share like Gemini. The that sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. The Mounds and the Almond Joy commercials back in the day, where those candies, even Kit Kat, were made to share. And Gemini is connected to the hands and also the lungs. So there we go with our whole pandemic. But the hands are our ability to offer, to split apart, to give to others, and and just know that this can be a really difficult week if you're not willing to use your martial energies in a Pisces to be compassionate and to be aware of the other, Think of it as a double axe, double-headed axe. So our warrior energy is that if you cut this way, it's a double-headed axe, it's going to swing back and cut you. So only cut where you're willing to be cut, or don't cut where you don't want to cut. All right.